Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. We know we can learn from the past.
Mhm.
And from the past, you garner so much information, even from your parents. Well, they learned from their past. We're going to go even deeper, way back to ancient wisdom. And she is somebody that has started an organization that kind of pretty much harnesses the power of that. Patricia Cardona joins us here on the program. How are you today?
I'm great. It's a beautiful day here in the Midwest, and nothing to complain about. Everything's beautiful.
So the name of your organization is the Cosmic Mystery School.
That's correct.
It's a nonprofit organization. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Uh, the Cosmic Mystery School was started when, in about 1999, we met our Mayan elder, Humbatzman, in 1996 in Mexico. My husband and I, he asked us to start the Cosmic Mystery School before we left meeting him for the first time in Mexico in 1996, which is when he initiated us in ceremony into the Mayan process and the Mayan knowledge. And he asked us if we would please bring that information back to the United States and help introduce others to it and spread the wisdom of the Maya to other people in the United States. So we started to do that. And my husband and I had already been bitten by what I call Mayan fever back in 1991 when we made our first trip to the Yucatan and started going to the the ancient Mayan ceremonial centers. And each time we went, we would see pictures of various sacred sites in Mexico or Guatemala or other places, and we were just driven to go and explore these places. It was so the knowledge and information at these sites was so profound and deep, and the energy was so powerful that we just started traveling as much as we could there, away from our work. We're both in the medical field, so when we were able to, we would go there to have our vacation time and really get to know more things. And we read everything we could find and just kept traveling. And when we'd come back to the United States, we always felt lonely for the beauty and the depth of knowledge and information there. So,
Wow.
yeah.
What would you say in the beginning, back in the early 90s, was your revelation, your first revelation to the teachings, the wisdom from that culture that you could apply to today? Like, something that kind of blew your mind, like, whoa, wow, interesting. Or maybe something that they've mastered back in the day and we're still trying to figure it out.
To our knowledge, as the people we are in the United States of America, the amount of pyramids and the fact that they were, for the most part, they discovered one the other day. They discovered them continuously in the jungle because the jungle is unforgiving and it's constantly growing and constantly covering things. So they're constantly discovering more and more Mayan pyramid sites. And so the things that archaeologists say about how long the Maya were in the Maya lands is completely false, because I would like to see them build 50,000 pyramid sites, or I mean, the amount is so huge that it just would take an incredible amount of time to do something to that amount. And the knowledge that we were reading in the books that we could find just wasn't satisfying for us back then. So the most satisfying thing for us was when we read Humbatzman. Was our Mayan elder, Humbatzman, who was a Mayan daykeeper in current times back when we met him at 1996, and reading his book, Mayan Science and Religion, which was available on Amazon at that time. I mean, maybe I don't remember where we got it exactly, but we did read his book, and we were blown away by what the Mayan knowledge he shared with us in that book. It was in such depth and so clear as far as the cycles of time and the knowledge of the Mayan people and interpreting their glyphs and what these things meant and how wrong archaeologists were for what they said these things meant. And so the depth of his wisdom and knowledge was so profound that we knew we had read the first truth when we read his book. And so my husband wrote to him, and you can't imagine how thrilled we were when he wrote back a couple months later and said and said to my husband, "Dear solar brother Daniel," being called a solar brother by a Mayan elder, it was just like so thrilling. And he invited us to be initiated in Mexico. And that was in 1995 when we wrote to him. So in 1996, we went in the spring equinox, which was a big, big time for his knowledge and belief about how the Maya worked with the sun, with the energy of the sun. So the teachings about the energy of the sun are still very, very profound. There are current scientists who are really working with light therapy and understanding the energy of the sun presently and how much that energy can be used for healing. And people are developing a lot of things like red light therapy and all different kinds of things, trying to harness those powers to heal people's bodies. And from the very beginning, our understanding and knowledge with Humbas-Men was profound. For years, he would say things to us like, one of the gods of the Maya is called Hunabku, and he would say that his knowledge was the movement and the measure, and it took years for us to realize. And my husband has a very scientific mind, being a physician and everything, but it took us years to realize what he was talking about was particle physics. So when sometimes matter is in light form and sometimes it's in wave form. So when he was talking about the movement and the measure, he was talking about particle physics. And that's what Hunabku was all about, was the movement and the measure.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Do you feel that like back then,
yeah,
they were healing people. They had medicine. They
right,
figured out the power of the sun. All
right,
of that. They
right,
didn't, they had doctors, if you want to call
yeah,
them that. It was all good back then. And now you fast forward to, we're talking like 1800 BC-ish, somewhere thereof. Then you get to now. Why does
well,
it seem like we're still struggling? Like we didn't really learn as much as we could have from that.
really, because we've been indoctrinated in our scientific mind, our scientific way of understanding things, and have not learned from the indigenous populations in different cultures what they knew and what like when the archaeologists were trying to understand something about a Mayan site, they didn't consult with the Mayan people who still might live in that area, or their daykeepers, or their priests, or anything like that, to say, what did the Mayan people say about this? They didn't consult with them. They made up their own story about what all these things meant. And that's really so unhelpful. And and
Wow.
and the people were taken over because of the conquistadors and all those people that went in and devastated their populations and enslaved the people. And so them continuing to study and learn their Mayan science and religion was something that didn't happen for a lot of people. Our teacher was recognized at the age of 6 as that he was going to be one of the medicine people for his people. And so they didn't send him to Western schools to be indoctrinated into those teachings. They kept him working with nature, working with Mayan science and religion, which they didn't separate those things. They weren't separate. Mayan science and religion were both part of the greater whole. And so his knowledge was very clean and very, very deep. And so we were just so thrilled to be educated in that way. And eventually, my husband and I both became became a fire priestess and a fire priest in that knowledge and wisdom that we were taught then by the elders, male and female, to be able to carry that tradition here, to help other people to heal, to learn how to do ceremony, to raise people's consciousness. All those things were beautiful and profound, and our own consciousness, my husband and myself, were completely rocked and raised by being in these sacred sites that were so full of this incredible energy and doing ceremony there. I mean, it may sound funny to people who don't understand this, but the profound nature of connecting with that ancient wisdom and that ancient energy that's in those sites, especially if you're there doing ceremony, you're connecting with a lineage that goes way, it's very, very, very old. And so then you're downloading and bringing in amazing information and knowledge, and it changes you absolutely.
Mm.
As I said at the very beginning, before we ever met our elder and did ceremony with him, we were really lonely when we come back to the United States. It felt so white bread. All the beautiful energy and the richness of what we were experiencing when we were in the Mayan lands, we didn't have that here, and I would feel very lonely and want to go back all the time. But once we met Humbats and did ceremony with him, it reconnected me with that lineage, and I never felt lonely for the lands again. I was always still was still connected, and I still loved to go, but I didn't feel that loneliness.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It does.
How special the culture was and is, and how it supports its people. And the older I get, the more I want to go back to a quote, simpler way of life.
Yeah.
And, for me, everybody has a sweet spot. My affinity is like the 1800s, where there was just some photography starting so you could see real pictures, not,
uh,
depictions of. And I look back then, it was like a little bit of technology going on there. It's like, it seems like it was, just simpler, easier. Yeah, technology is great that we have it today,
yeah, I know.
but it
Yeah,
also complicated things
right,
at the
right,
same time.
right. And at the height of his teaching times, Humboldt's had thousands of people in ceremony over the years. In fact, in 20, I mean, what, yeah, it would have been 2011. In 2011, we helped him organize, he called it the pilgrimage across the United States. And we went from New York all the way to LA
Hmm.
in cars, like a caravan of cars with about 20 people, something like that. And we were working with the crystal skulls. He had had a vision when he was a very young boy, and his teacher, Don Beto, told him, and he saw in his vision that he was going to be working with crystal skulls. And so we went all the way doing ceremony in different places from New York to our ceremony where we live. We're closest to Serpent Mound. So our ceremony was at Serpent Mound. We had 2,000 people there that, came and encircled the mound and did ceremony with Combatsmen. People couldn't wait to be involved in that, beautiful frequency of energy, and miraculous things would happen in ceremonies. Like when we hit this, there's this one place, a Serpent Mound. When you get to it, you really enter the sacred. So we surrounded the whole mound, which is quite big, with 2,000 people. And we were doing the ceremony, and I was burning the copal, which is part of the job of the fire priestess. And when we hit that spot, all of a sudden, big raindrops started to fall. I mean, huge raindrops, and they looked like little prisms, like rainbows were as they fell from the sky briefly. And then a beautiful rainbow came across the whole sky. So the
Wow.
whole of nature was celebrating that all these people were there celebrating this nature, celebrating this ancient wisdom, bringing back what was supposed to be happening there at Serpent Mound, which was connection with the sacred, connection with this profound energy that was there. So, I mean, over all those years, I got to experience many amazing things and participate in many and learn many amazing things. So that connecting with nature in that manner could cause these miraculous things to happen. And they happen for me today. They happen for me all the time. I walked out to greet the sun this morning, which is really part of the tradition, is greeting the sun
Hmm.
and speaking with the sun and bringing that solar energy into myself and asking it to completely, download my whole body with it to transform me into my pure self and heal me, and etc. And when I said my prayers with the sun, which was behind a little cloud, it started to peek out. And within 5 minutes, it had found its way out, and I got to enjoy the full presence of the sun. It's just glorious, to have that experience. So I'm very
Hmm.
grateful for having learned the different, on the different chants and things that we do to make those connections. But you have to put in the time and the work and do ceremony and connect and all those. And I even have, I have this. This is Humbat's men's crystal skull. In the last 10 years or so of his life, my husband and I were the ones who helped him the most to continue the teachings and bring them through. And so when he left the planet, I received Nagaku, which is what he named this skull. It's actually a Tibetan crystal skull given to him. It was from the mountains in Tibet. There were 13 skulls altogether brought over by a man named Frank Liu, who's now passed over. But he gave Humbat's men this one. And so on his passing, I received it. He has the tint from the cave still on him. I don't know how many, hundreds or who knows how many years he and the other skulls were in the cave, but there's a whole story behind that. So it's very interesting.
When is that, Patricia? When does that date back to? What do you
What
think?
back to, it's really, it's like, how do you date stone? How do you date crystal? How do you, it's millions of years old, probably. I mean, if you date the actual crystal itself.
What about the carving? When it was carved? Any kind of
Well,
guesstimate when?
no one has made any guesstimate that I know of. And I know some other people who have the other 12 of the schools, and uh, they're all have individual faces. I have pictures of all 12 of them. I had them all in my living room at one time
Oh, wow.
in 1999, when they first got brought over, and it was so fun to unwrapping them when they were in canvas, brought over from China. Well, from Frank Liu lived in Singapore, I think. There's some, or Hong Kong, some really international kind of place as where he came from. So, anyways, but I don't know how he got him through customs. It's like me, I don't take Nagaku anywhere because he's so valuable, honestly. I mean, if I can't drive, because by the time Humbat's men left, he was having a hard time getting him through on the planes and things like that, because the airlines or somebody, the security would give them a really hard time. And I have other crystal skulls that I would take places, and I'd end up having to put him in a backpack and put him through the luggage and everything. And then, something really valuable, you don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
Oh
You don't
my
know if
gosh.
it's
Yeah.
gonna be. Yeah, and this guy is so old and so beautiful. And if you see he's got a third eye here. I can't do this very well.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, he's got that.
Wow.
And when we did ceremony with him the first time at Serpent Mound in 2009, two of the other crystal skulls from the 13 were there, from a lady from Africa, Jessica, and she had two of them. And hers were sitting there, and his Humbats was sitting in there. I said to Humbats, Humbats, your skull looks so much more bright. And look at his third eye and everything. And he said, I've been working with him. So, it's just amazing. And even though, it's a hard crystal skull, his energy is very soft. And he encompasses Humbat's energy, because he thought that he would always say, who has more knowledge? Who has more knowledge? Here or here? Here. Because they can download so much information, just like people who make computer chips and all the different things out of crystal. They can just download incredible amounts of information. So, um, uh,
I got to tell you, the detail on that is amazing. It really is.
yeah, it is. He's not like I've been with Mitchell Hedges' crystal skull, which is supposed to have been found in Labna, I think was where it was. Anyways, and it's very beautiful. That is a beautiful skull, because it's very clear. It wasn't never set in a cave for whatever, I don't know, but it's very beautifully clear, and its energy is very soft. So I've been with that, and
Mm.
this skull gets really happy. I did a little conference a weekend or so ago with some people who wanted to have their crystal skulls more connected with the cosmos and with their star elders, and it went very well. It was really fun. And this skull, hard to believe, it really brightens up. When I take it into something like that, it's like it brightens up the energy of it. It's really, you can see it, its eyes and everything just sort of brighten up. And I don't know if it's because Humbat's men is still connected to it or what, but it's just
There is. I don't know what I can't put my finger on it, but there is
Yeah.
a feeling of positivity
Yeah.
coming from that piece of crystal. I want to
Yeah.
ask you
Go
before
ahead.
we run out of time.
Yeah.
This organization you started is a not-for-profit.
Yeah.
And tell me about your goals. Is it just to spread awareness? Are you looking for
No,
funding as well?
it's we take people on sacred journeys, to Mexico, the Maya lands, and to other places, to Egypt, to England, any place where there's really ancient cultures that those sites are going to hold an incredible amount of wisdom and knowledge. And I want people to know about that. I want them to come with us. I want them to raise their consciousness. I want them to bring that energy into the world. My husband and I have studied all kinds of healing traditions, and we do healings on people all the time. And I want that knowledge of how we can heal ourselves, how we can heal others. I mean, I can send that information. I can send healing energy to you right now. I use sacred copal in my healing, but that energy has ingrained in me so much because of so many years of doing this. I can do it without, like, I can light the copal, which is a sacred incense from the Mayans. It comes from a sacred tree. You have to put on the charcoal to let the smoke come out. But because I worked with it for so long now, I can send that copal without even lighting it. I can send it through a room and clean people and cleanse people and all that stuff. I can send it right now. Would you like to experience it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I'm a
Okay.
believer in all of this. I really am. I
Yeah.
mean, some believe in energy, Reiki, energy healing, things
Sure.
like that.
Sure.
You can send. Um,
Okay. So I'm calling upon the sacred copal to come in now, please. I'm creating a tunnel and tube of light between us now, and I'm sending the sacred copal into anyone who listens and sees this and connects with this to help cleanse and clear them and heal them. Sending it in. You can feel it. I can tell you can feel it. I can feel you feeling it. So that's good. That's very good. I'm calling on the elders. I'm calling on the star elders and beings to send down their beautiful vibration and frequency now. Their beautiful vibration and frequency, bringing it in now, please. Bringing it in, connecting with the star elders. And so now their energy enters the room. It's really powerful. I swear the lights behind you just change color and frequency, sending it in now to you and anyone who connects with this video, sending it into your hearts, sending into your minds and spirits. Complete love and light. We thank you on all levels. We thank you on all levels. We thank you on all levels. Almighty I am, Almighty I am, Almighty I am. We thank you.
wow.
Yeah.
There is a feeling of calm here.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And would you say, and we're out of time, but I have to ask, would
Yeah.
you say that it's different, but it's similar to chakra balancing, energy clearing, that type of thing?
Yeah.
Because I've had that done remotely, just,
Yeah. we
similar.
we do all those things, and specifically
Wow.
some we do all those things for people when we do a healing session. We can tune into places on their bodies and remove things. If they we really The first thing we always do is clean people because they get a lot of stuff in their fields or from connections with other people
Sure.
that really mess them up. So we have to clear that stuff away first before we put in the healing energy and make a big difference in their lives and worlds and clearing their path for whatever they're trying to put into motion. So we do all those things. Absolutely.
Amazing. How do we find out about you? I know you have a website. What is
Yes.
that?
It's www.cosmic mysteries mysteries.com, cosmicmysteries.com. Do you want my email or phone number, or is that
If you want to give it out, sure.
sure? And the email is cosmic cosmicmysteriesschool@gmail.com, cosmicmysteriesschool@gmail.com. Phone number for the business, 859-749-7146. Give us a call, join us for an event, come on a trip, Sacred Journey. We offer free healing sessions, sometimes group healings. If you sign up on our website, you have access to many things that we've done. There's videos from different teachings we share on there that they're free to view. So
wow.
Come in and join them.
There is power in our past, and you're evidence of that. Thank you for enlightening us today with this and sharing it. Fascinating. Thank
you for your openness and inviting me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate it too. We will be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.